My name is Eva and I'm 57 years old. I'm currently rebuilding my life from scratch. In this video, I'll talk about my new beginning and how you can apply some of my ideas to your own life. At the end, I will give you 5 specific tips on how to make your new start easier. So stay tuned. This isn't the first time I tried to turn my life around. The first time, however, I was half-hearted, unprepared and fearful. Yet I threw myself headfirst into my new life. I didn't consider all areas of my life. I focused only on work. Ultimately, I made so many mistakes that I failed spectacularly. I was shocked by how badly my attempt to become self-employed went. I returned to my old job and life and wallowed in self-pity for a while, but that phase passed and I began to think about what went wrong and why. I started analyzing my mistakes. This took quite a long time and it also involved painful self-awareness. I had to face things about myself that I had long refused to admit and constantly ignored. But finally, I thought carefully about how I really want to live. Where do I need to start and what exactly needs to change? Once I realized how I wanted to live in the future, it became clear to me that this would be a long journey, not a quick turnaround. On the one hand, because I wanted to change so much, and on the other, because I had no idea how I wanted to get there. The biggest area was still work. I really wanted to be self-employed, but I wasn't yet sure what exactly I wanted to do in the future. What I had tried wasn't right for me. So I continued to try things out and educate myself in many areas. Looking back, that was a valuable time because what exactly I wanted to do only slowly became clear to me. I have to say that I'm a multipotentialite, also known as a scanner personality. I'm interested in an incredible number of things and get excited quickly. But I can quickly lose interest in something as well. Just recently, I realized what conditions are important for me to stay focused. So all this time spent trying things out, analyzing and even doubting myself and getting angry that I wasn't making faster progress was not wasted. However, I made faster progress in other areas I wanted to tackle, such as health. I expanded and changed my training routine, optimized my diet once again and was able to achieve success. A new apartment was out of the question for financial reasons. Rent is very expensive in Germany, but I took a lot of time to redecorate my apartment. So everything was going smoothly? Unfortunately not. It turned out that although you can plan everything very nicely and perfect, unforeseen disruptions are simply part of life. It happens. I had planned to build up my photography portfolio alongside my work, publish it, open a shop later on and slowly build up my new life as a side job. All at a leisurely pace and only as much as I could handle. Of course, this took longer than I would have liked, but my parents were getting older and needed more care and attention. My father developed dementia, and so I spent lots of my free time with my family and for them. And although I reduced my working hours, I had very little time for myself and for my career. At the same time, my work was already stressful enough, but in combination with a very stressful situation with my parents, my health began to suffer. I no longer had any time to take care of my mental and physical fitness. During this time, many of my contacts also fell away due to COVID and I didn't have the strength to maintain and nurture relationships. The lowest point came in 2022 when my father had to go into a nursery home and my mother followed him. I managed everything, cleared out the apartment on my own, which was a physical and mental tour de force. I was at the end of my rope, burnout. My doctor wanted to send me to a health resort, but at the time I didn't want to go. I didn't want to leave my parents alone in their new situation. So I stayed at home. So I dragged myself through, more badly than well, because my health was really suffering. But I tried to change my mindset, to motivate myself and build myself up, and to get closer to my goal in tiny steps. At the time, it was important not to lose sight of this goal of rebuilding my life. And then in 2024, I hit rock bottom. My father passed away and I lost my job at the same time. I wasn't able to mourn as I needed to, as I had to organize my mother's widowhood. Anyone who has ever encountered German bureaucracy will know what that means. And so I was very busy and I had no time for myself again and for mourning and for getting into this new situation. And my untreated burnout returned with a vengeance and I needed a break. But I still tried to continue working towards my goals. That was a mistake. First, the physical strain was too much. For example, I renovated my kitchen to distract myself from mourning. Assembling an IKEA kitchen on your own when you're feeling run down is a really stupid idea. My ability to think clearly and plan well was also limited. I made a series of decisions that I thought would help me, but which actually sent me back, especially financially, instead of moving me forward. However, the time off taught me a lot about myself and influenced my decisions about how I wanted to reshape my life. What have I learned from this lengthy progress, which is far from over? I have learned 5 things. It's never too late to start over. If you don't like your life the way it is, and if I'm totally unhappy, or even if it makes me sick, why should I continue living this life? Age is an excellent excuse for not having to leave your comfort zone, but that's all it is, an excuse. Small steps are valuable too, not just big leaps. Would I have liked to reach my goal sooner? Yes, of course. But the many small steps also gave me the opportunity to pause and reflect on myself and my path, and to strike out in a new direction. Right now I feel like a loser. I didn't achieve my goal, I'm jobless, and that feels bitter. But on closer inspection, I realized that I have acquired a wealth of new skills and I discovered more insights and truth about myself than in all the previous decades of my life. I am also learning to slowly reprogram myself. I have learned to appreciate this process and no longer measure my worth solely by my job or status. I now see myself as a whole person. Grief and illness affect the decisions you make. This applies to big or small decisions. You may not think as clearly as usual. Well, this is normal, but you should be aware of it and think about it when you make decisions. And if you can, simply put decisions, especially big decisions, on hold until you think more clearly again. Given their age, I could absolutely have foreseen and planned for my parents needing care or at least more support. Or at least I could have thought about it, which I didn't. I could also have considered the possibility of losing my job, but I blocked out everything that was not under my direct control. I can't plan for everything, but I could keep it at the back of my mind and think about it. If you are at a point where you want to start over, here are my 5 tips on how to proceed. Before rushing ahead with blind activism, check exactly where you want your journey to take you. What do you really want to change? Identify where the problem lies and what needs to change. However, it's important to take the time to do this if you do not want to keep taking the wrong turn or end up going nowhere. While drastic changes may be appealing, they may not always be the best. Small individual changes that, when combined, form a complete package are definitely an alternative. But this approach may take more time, and this can be challenging for impatient individuals like me. But when I implement small changes, I repeatedly achieve success that motivate me to keep my overall goal in sight. As I get older, it's important to pay close attention to my energy levels. In the long run, it's smarter only to do as much as I can comfortably manage, even if I would prefer to see results quickly. Every time I overdo it, whether it's physically or mentally, it's a step backwards that can slow me down much more than if I had been more mindful from the outset. Getting into certain routines is a good way to avoid this. Unforeseeable incidents can always happen, and they can derail all your efforts. Don't let fate discourage you with the words, "It wasn't meant to be." Ultimately, that's just an excuse to retreat back into your comfort zone. Try new things. If you're not yet sure what you want to change or how to go about it, surprise yourself. Learn something new. Take on a volunteering role. Change your diet. Do something different. The important thing is to find out how it makes you feel and what effect it has on you. Thank you so much for your time. I would be interested. Do you feel the same about changing your life? Let me know in the comments. Are you also on the start of a new journey? If you're interested in the topic of transformation, please subscribe to my channel to watch more videos on the subject. Bye!